Hello everyone, welcome back to the course on Chemical Reaction Engineering 1. Myself, Nidhi Mehta, Assistant Professor at Chemical Engineering Department, LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. So let's just start our today's session. Hello everyone, welcome to the course on Chemical Reaction Engineering 2. Myself, Nidhi Mehta, Assistant Professor at Chemical Engineering Department, LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. So let's just start with our topic, which is non-ideal flow, right? Before starting today's session, let's just have a quick recap of what we have covered in our previous sessions. We know that we are dealing with non-ideal flow just because we know that in actual practice or in actual scenarios in our industry, all the processes are dealing with non-ideal behavior of fluids, correct? We know that each and every reactor or each and every process show non-ideality to some extent. It is generally because of the presence of some unwanted properties or some unwanted behavior which is being shown, right? It might include short circuiting, it may be due to channeling, or maybe some another parameters which are affecting our flow patterns, which ultimately results in our ideal flow, which is considered to be either a plug flow or a mixed flow, to get deviated from their ideality and show some non-ideal patterns. In this particular chapter, we have already covered what is RTD, how to determine RTD, what is tracer, and what are the important characteristics of tracer which we must understand and which we must know. Because if we do not know the characteristic of tracer and if we are using tracer to determine the performance of our reactor, then it will surely interfere the efficiency of our reactor and hinder the performance of our reactor, correct? Now, in the last session we have seen how to determine RTD in case of mixed flow reactor, and we have also seen how to determine RTD of batch and CSTR reactor, correct? Now, in today's topic, we will start with the term conversion in non-ideal flow. So, basically, when we are talking about how the flow gets converted into non-ideal flow, right, or how it is going to convert in non-ideal flow, it becomes very important for us to understand this. What we need to understand is, we need to understand that reactor behavior. Simply understand one phenomena or one thing. Whenever as a chemical engineer we are going into the industry, it is our foremost job to know how our reactor behaves. Why we are considered or why we are expected to know the behavior of a reactor? It's simply because the entire product behavior or the entire product specifications depend on the behavior of our reactor, correct? How our product is going to be or how it is being formed. The entire thing depends on how the reactor behaves. Clear? So, it is quite very essential for us to understand the behavior of each and every reactor which we are using in our industry or to carry out our processes, correct? Now, when we are talking about behavior of our reactor, we must know that our reactor behavior is being affected by 4 different phenomena. Those 4 phenomena are, as you can see, listed here, right? These are the 4 phenomena which can affect our reactor behavior. So what are those phenomena? Let's consider them one by one and let us understand what they want to say. So the first phenomena which can affect the reactor behavior is RTD. So what do we mean by RTD is residence time distribution. How it can affect the reactor behavior? See, the residence time distribution or the RTD is basically a characteristic of any reactor, correct? So what it actually does is, it simply shows you the pattern of your atoms or molecules of which they are spending time, right? It is showing you the time spent by your atoms or molecules inside your reactor, correct? Now, what is more important for us? We need our reactant molecule to spend more time inside our reactor so that they can get that desired condition of temperature, pressure and all to convert themselves into product, correct? So it is quite essential for our reactant to spend more time inside the reactor, right? So that can be determined by RTD study. RTD study shows us how our reactant behaves inside the reactor. What is the mean residence time of our reactant? What is the average time of our reactant inside our reactor? So doing that particular study, we can simply understand what we need to do, what changes we need to make to convert our reactant into product, or so that our reactant can spend more time inside our reactor, correct? Point number 2 comes kinetics of reaction. Again, kinetics of reaction plays a very important role because it completely depends on how the reaction is going to occur. Whether it is a single reactant or it is having a 2 reactant which will colloid with each other and going to convert itself into product, the entire kinetics of our reaction is quite very essential, correct? So we must understand the basic kinetics of our reaction, which basically shows us the path of reactor behavior. The next is earliness or lateness of mixing and macro or micro fluid. Let's just understand this in more detail. So if we deal with micro and macro fluid, so as you can see in this particular picture, the first picture deals with micro fluid, right? So in case of micro fluid, what we are going to do is, if you are providing late mixing, what we are doing here is, understand, we are sending a reactant into the reactor, and once it is being converted, then we are giving it a proper mixing. We have placed a mixer after the reactor, right? So what will happen? If you are going to arrange this kind of arrangement, it is known as late mixing. In case of microfluid, late mixing is favorable when the reaction order is greater than 1. Suppose my reaction is having a second order reaction or it is a third order reaction, then I should do this kind of arrangement to get maximum conversion, correct? And suppose I am having a mixing arrangement before my reactor. So what will happen in this particular arrangement? If the reaction order is less than 1, correct? If the reaction order is less than 1, then early mixing is preferable. We should go for early mixing. But just remember one thing, both these cases are for microfluid, right? We are talking about microfluid, not the macrofluid. So what happened in the case of macrofluid? In case of macrofluid, what happened? What is the macrofluid? Macrofluid is basically small lumps or clumps, we can say, of atoms of or molecules of a reactant which are actually behaving as a batch reactor. Right? They themselves behave as a batch reactor. So in case of macrofluid, kinetics and RTD became a quite essential parameter to determine the entire chemistry or to determine the entire composition of outlet from the reaction. So microfluid is basically small atoms or particles or molecules which are present in your reactant. Those individual atoms or molecules are considered as microfluid. And when these small atoms or molecules of reactant combine in lumps or in clumps to form some small kind of batches or clumps, and when they perform as a batch kind of performance, then it is known as macrofluid. Correct? Now, coming to the next is to how to determine mean concentration of reactant in exit stream. So to determine mean concentration of reactant in exit stream, we can simply use this particular formula. As you can see here, we can simply do the summation of all the elements of exit stream, and we can take concentration of reactant which is remaining in the element and having the time between T and plus dt, and we can simply multiply it with the fraction of stream which is having the age between T and T plus dt. Correct? So if you want to write this particular formula in the form of numerical values or in the form of terminologies, we can simply use Ca bar, that is concentration of element A or component A upon Ca0, which is initial concentration of reactant A at exit stream, equals to 0 to infinite Ca by Ca0 for all the elements between the age of 0 to infinite into E dt. E here is the exit age of our element. Correct? So this is all about how to determine it. If we want to determine in terms of conversion, so we can use the formula Xa bar equals to 0 to infinite Xa, which is conversion of reactant A, into E, which is exit age distribution, and dt, which is our time. Correct? Or we can simply write it in this particular form also, where dt can be replaced with the value of delta t, small time interval. Right? And if we go and consider the different orders, whether we consider first order, second order or nth order, we can reduce our given formulas in the form of Ca by Ca0 equals to e raised to minus kt, which is again written as 1 upon 1 plus k Ca0t, and if we want to write it in terms of nth form, we can simply use this particular formula. So this is all about what we have covered in this session. Hope all the things are clear. Thank you.